So I'm going to be asking the guys who they would actually invest in. I'm not sure anybody actually has, but I'm curious to hear if you had to make a choice, what you would actually go out there and invest in for Friend.Tech. Cody, I'm going to start with you because I know you spent so much time on Twitter. Which accounts would you look at? I'm guessing it may be related to Chelsea if you had an opportunity, but tell me, which Twitter accounts would you be looking at?
I think I would have to go with Ansem. I don't know if everyone will know him, but like he's gotten pretty famous, like on crypto Twitter. Like he's the guy that like made DeFi Kingdoms popular and whatnot. He's a big Solana bull right now, and the guy is just really entertaining. Like I think by the end of this, however this ends, like I think he's gonna be like proper famous.
Proper famous.
So yeah.
Sorry, can you the handle again? Who is this?
BLK Noise 06.
Okay, so it's easy to pronounce and remember. Got it. Okay,
super easy. Yeah,
super easy. Barely an inconvenience. JJ, who do you have if you have to invest on Friend.Tech?
I would take Inverse Bra.
Inverse Bra?
Yeah, for the memes, the laughs.
All right.
Not
I like
so much
that.
alpha, but it's funny.
Okay, make you chuckle. Ben.
I'll do myself so I don't lose money.
Oh, I love that. Invest in yourself. Who else will?
Because I won't be on there.
Okay.
And you get one free share.
Yeah, that's right.
Here we go.
Trap tokens. Ray, how about you?
Or they call them keys now. I'm going with Ben. I'm going to bet on myself for a variety of selfish reasons and some, like self-challenges that I've set out for myself. So I would bet on myself. But my strategy when I first downloaded the platform was to go and look at who was not on it yet, and then find a way to set an alarm to let me know when they got on so I could buy their shares when they were cheap. So I looked for a lot of people who are prominent, like Twitter people, but who had not yet got on it. So, for example, like Scott Melker or Cantorin Clark or Michael Van de Poppe, Bitcoiners are kind of slow to get to tech that's not built on Bitcoin. So I looked at some of those names because maybe eventually they would hop on, and then I would buy their shares for cheap. The shares are obviously going to surge because of MEV bots and sniping bots and other clever traders, on-chain based traders. So I would sell all those into profit, but I have not done any of that.
You haven't actually pulled the trigger. Why not? Have they not actually made it to the platform?
Yeah, they weren't on there, and I've been around this block a lot of times, and I'm in this place in my life now where it's, for me, I know it sounds crazy, only Bitcoin. Bitcoin's so cheap right now, and we've got the halving coming up. So why would I waste my hard-earned money on gambling and speculating when I could just buy Bitcoin? Because I've been around the block and speculated, and when I got wrecked or lost money or didn't sell in time, I'm left here sitting wondering, like doing the math. Here's how many Bitcoin I could have. Here's how many ETH I could have. So at this point, I guess I have low testosterone or something as an investor, and I'm just keeping it safe with Bitcoin.
Keeping it real.
Is that the new handle, low T?
Low T.
It might as well be.
Oh, man. That's perfect. Ben, you mentioned, I kind of want to open it up to the group and just get your general thoughts on the platform. But Ben, I want to start with you. You mentioned you're definitely not going to get on there. And I know we had some chats on the Discord kind of going back and forth on it. But what are your thoughts there? When you see this tech coming out, what's your initial reaction? And then as you dive into it, what else do you think?
I think I have similar sentiment as Ray. Like, I've kind of been in the space for long enough where a lot of these kind of gambling like ventures where you go ahead, you download the app, you transfer some capital, you experiment, it's fun. That's the part that I really loved about DeFi Summer, what feels like eons ago. It's fun. And, there's not like a lot of innovation, and Friend.Tech does seem like it has some of that, but it's time. Like, time is so valuable nowadays, and we spend so much building all the products that we want to launch that, is that time going to be worth it? For me personally, it's not. And I have enough conviction on what Bitcoin's doing that I can sit there and be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish in this coming cycle. That's not really on my radar. But one thing I would like to say is that it's really hard for an Anon team to build. Like, these guys are Anon. We have to think about it. It might not be because they're scammers or trying to rug pull as all of this discussion and rumors about what's happening with Friend.Tech that we don't really know. But to build in this space as an Anon is difficult. You have to have some social reputation behind you with sort of years of experience to have that trust from the community to go ahead, ape in your product and feel confident. And I think a lot of that has to do with the lack of a good regulatory sandbox to build and create. I don't think these guys want to be Anon if they're not scammers or ruggers, right? They want to build a good product. They want to be known. And if it not for the regulatory landscape, I think they would go ahead and do it. And I think we would all feel a lot more comfortable to go ahead and deploy larger sums of capital even and experiment at a greater capacity.
That's an interesting perspective on the lack of regulatory clarity and a non-development. I
But
definitely
there's been good products that
Right.
are built by Anon, like GMX. That's
Yeah.
a great product, and
Right.
that's a fully Anon team. They're scared. And if there was a regulatory sandbox, imagine how great GMX as a protocol could be.
Sure, absolutely. Cody, I want to ask you specifically. You had mentioned during the discussion on Barcelona and what they're doing with Web3, kind of this thought that this was Friend.Tech was maybe another instance that we're going to see in terms of people buying into reputation and having fun doing some gambling or speculation on it. Is that how you see it? How do you see Friend.Tech as a technology?
I like the app. Like, I think the app is really good in the sense that it has abstracted away a lot of the pains of crypto apps. Like, it doesn't feel like a crypto app as any other. Like, it just, I don't know, you don't have to bridge, you don't have to do basically anything. You just sign up, and it's similar to other Web2 apps that you would use. If you ask me if I like the financialization of like people and like tokenizing people in a sense, I'm not a big fan. I just don't know if I can do anything to stop that from happening, right? So I think it's gonna happen eventually. It's not gonna be everyone. Like, I think that's not gonna happen like everyone, like in a Black Mirror style, like you're kind of like treating everyone you meet on the street and whatnot. But I think gambling directly on the success of like celebrities and like football players, basketball players, and all athletes, I think that's coming. And I think, you can see it on Friend.Tech.
And we've been tokenizing individuals almost for 6-7 years now, haven't we? Experiment-wise, like that gentleman Alex, I don't know, his token is ALEX, Alex, and he's gone on to build, I think, Showcase.xyz. But he tokenized himself.
Yeah.
I think that was 6 years ago.
Cody, to your point, it does seem inevitable. I mean, I don't like the Kardashians, but they took over, so I couldn't stop them.
I love the idea of it, but it just seems like one of those things where the unintended consequences kind of ruin the use case over the long term. You just see how it would turn into something nefarious or just weird.
Dystopian.
Yeah. Like not to pump our show, but just like the type of people that are successful on YouTube, I don't know anybody that actually really watches it, right? Like there's some kind of like game to it all that just it's disingenuous.
You gotta want the spotlight, and you gotta want it to stay on you. And those are the individuals that this is gonna really, or who will excel. I mean, it's the influencer model.
Yeah,
like,
it's
on
like
steroids.
politicians, like the type of people who get to office and stuff. Like, it's usually the worst people that crave for that kind of attention and spotlight. And it just seems like another one of those things where it draws in kind of the worst parts of humanity come out anytime you financialize these things.
JJ, I don't know what you mean by that. All the politicians I follow are humble, well-spoken, well-dressed, and just absolutely respectful. Ray, you had some comment to kind of wrap up our discussion on Friend.Tech.
Yeah, I can do it in a minute. And I feel positive about the platform, at least optimistic. I'm not positive about its lifespan, but, I'm working hard to grow my brand and to monetize my analysis in my brain and to access some of the perks of being known in this space. And even with my current job and time spent in this sector, it's not easy. So I view Friend.Tech as infrastructure that's plug and play. It has product to market fit. It has market share. It has mind share right now. So why shouldn't I give it a go? The worst I can do is ignore it by writing it off as a scam, or give it a go and not reach my personal objectives. Now, is profiting off your friends and followers and the solitary reason for friends and followers engaging with you and your shares or your keys is for either profit or the hope of an airdrop? That's a big issue. And I think it's because it's insular capital within that ecosystem, and it's primarily speculation driven. And by insular, I mean like influencers and market makers provide the initial liquidity, and then as the platform takes off, new and larger and more expensive retail capital rolls in. Influencers and insiders typically like sell into that volume. Is that the case with Friend.Tech? I don't see it yet, according to the data dashboards that I've seen on Dune. And sure, we heard that Paradigm has participated in a seed fund, and that was followed by like this euphoric inflow of new account generation and speculation on the platform. Yes, there's going to be 100 million tokens, which are airdropped in tranches every Friday, and that might doom or cause some problems for the project. But I like it because the infrastructure provides I think, a seamless layer for like branding and engagement and perks and creating discounts and gated content and shareholder profit sharing and other features that like creators and personalities can use to entice and retain their community. So the base concept is solid, even though it's not novel. And if they don't rug, and if they don't lose their money to like future competitors, and if they're not forced to drop a token by Paradigm who then dumps and dilutes everyone, then I'm excited about the platform. So everything's said with kind of a caveat, isn't it?
It is. It is. But
The chance is just 10x on a token drop coming.
Yeah. And you know what? In this instance, that's not my interest. And that wasn't my interest with Arkham, and that wasn't my interest with using Arbitrum for a year and a half before they did the airdrop. So while I know it's there, I view it more as an incentive for people who buy my shares to continue trading or buying those shares or speculating on them, because they want the airdrop and they're farming it. But I hope during that limited window, that 15 minutes of fame that, content creators might get on Friend.Tech, if they allow you to start, importing images and audio and video and all that, I hope that within that short time span that I have, my shareholders' attention, that I can make some impact that, is lasting within that platform. Or if that platform rugs or blows up, maybe those people now know me and will follow me elsewhere. So I think it's, it's an opportunity. It's already made. It's made, like, it's infrastructure. It's a tool. It's an instrument that I can try. So I like it in that regard.
I think that's a great optimistic way to end this. I will say, Ray, that was 3 minutes, not one. I'm going to start calling you 3 minute, 1 minute Ray.
Sorry.
There's always a lot to share. No, I think that's good. There is a native skepticism for a lot of people when it comes to technology, and specifically if you have anonymous builders. Ben, you just commented on that, and I think it's easy to sort of downplay the opportunities there and also be negative. I think it's good, Ray, to your point, to think about what are the opportunities for individuals like yourself or others that are looking to build. And so we got to keep that in mind with all the skepticism that we may have and with the unknowns, because no matter what you build, there's unknowns. JJ, you talked about unintended consequences.